Hello, welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we're going to look at component, props, and JSX in React. So first, what is React component? Component in React serve as independent and usable blocks for UI elements. So they represent different parts of a web page and contain both structure and behavior. So you can accept inputs called props, just like your functions accept parameters. So a React component can accept inputs, and these inputs are called props. And then returns a React element describing what should appear on the screen. Otherwise, it returns a GSS. It returns GSS or React element, which describes how what should appear on our screen. Also, a UI is broken into multiple individual pieces called components. So you can work on components independently and then merge them all into a parent component, which will be your final UI. And so what React have succeeded in doing is to modularize our project. Why do we need components? Components help us modularize our project. So we can view an entire UI into components and then work on this component individually and then merge these components together to form the UI. Okay, so let's look at Google, for example. So you can see this is Google website. At the left part, I can see Gmail, images. So this is a full Google UI where you can enter your search parameters and then look for whatever you are searching for on Google. However, this UI is made up of different components, can be seen to made up of different components. This can be a component on its own. Images is a component on its own. This search icon is a component on its own. This is a component on its own. The search box here is a component on its own. The Google is a component on its own. So we can, in essence, see that the UI can be broken down into multiple pieces of usable components. We say usable because these components can be used on other pages. And so why components? What's the concept behind component? Why do we use component in React? So components help us modularize our application. So basically what you do is that you write a component, for example, a search component, which is independent in terms of structure and behavior, and then it becomes reusable. So when you want to build a UI, what you do is to couple this component together to give you that entire UI. And so let us explore into what component is. But before then, we're going to look a few more. So even our Google search is a component, I feel happy is a component. So these two can be the same component with different parameters passed in. So a component can accept a parameter, which is what called props. So programmatically, a component can just be said to be a function that returns a JSS. All right, so we will look at what this means. But before then, so there are two types of components in React. You have the functional component and the class-based component. Now React have recommended using functional components. Let us look at these two. So to write a component using functional approach, so the functional component are simply JavaScript function that take props as input and return a GSS element. And so the functional component can be defined using function keyword or arrow function syntax, just like you see here. So this is function, the name of the component, and then an optional prop, which is the parameter. And then the component returns a GSS. So the component returns a GSS. So you can see it's returning a div. So this is HTML-like structure, but it's a GSS. So we're going to see GSS. What it means is JavaScript XML. So we'll look at it or explore it more. So you can see, so the syntax to actually write a functional component is to use the function keyword, just like your function in JavaScript, and then the component name, then an optional props. You pass in props, which is optional, and then you return a GSS, HTML-like element. Okay, so We also have the class-based components. So these are ESS6 classes that extend the React component or React pure component. They have a render method where you will define the structure of a component you are using JSS. So the syntax is of a class-based component is that the class component must include the extend, that node extends the parent component, which is the React.component statement. This statement creates an inheritance to React component and gives your component access to React component functions. The component also requires a render method. This method returns HTML. So we can say this is the syntax. You use a class and the name of the component, and then you extend a React component. By extending this React.component, it gives you access to define methods and functions to use, returns a JSX element or HTML-like element. So that's how to write a class mode. However, modern Reacts have advised the use of functional components, which is what we are going to stick in this lesson. Right? So what then is JSS? JSS stands for JavaScript XML. And it is a very useful tool for React developers. So it is an extension to JavaScript language that provides a way to structure component rendering using syntax similar to HTML. And so what you do using JSS is that you are providing a structure to component using HTML-like structure. And then one of the beauty of React is that you can embed your JavaScript in that React. So the JSS is HTML-like structure which has JavaScript embedded in it. So your React component returns the JSS-like structure, which is meant to be rendered or viewed on your screen. So it just allows you to write HTML code in your JavaScript files, making it easy to describe the structure of your component UI. So why do we use JSS? Use of JSS in React. So we use it just for declarative UI structure and for embedding JavaScript. Also, JSS allows developers to write a structure of UI component in a way that closely resembles HTML or XML. For example, you can see this cost element equals to HTML, all right? So we can also embed JavaScript in our HTML, in our HTML. So that's one advantage of using JSS. You can embed JavaScript in it. So JSS allows you to embed JavaScript expression within the markup, which makes it easy to incorporate dynamic data and load into your UI component. So let's explore this component in our code. Okay, so we said we can divide. We want to actually build this web page using React. We said we can divide this web page into components. We have the navbar component, the footer component, and then we have the body component. So in this body component, we have three inputs, and then a button, some button. So let's go back to our code. All right. So we have actually defined, we have actually created a folder where all our components will live. Don't forget this particular app.js is the parent component that has been displayed on our browser. So this is our parent component. I want to create a separate component and then bring them together to actually form this UI. All right. So I'm going to create our first component, which is a navbar component, navbar.js. All right. So I think I'll prefer to create a folder and call it navbar. Let's call it navbar. This folder is going to house all of our components. And I'll take this into it. So I'm moving into the folder. So in this navbar, we have navbar.js component. So what's a component? A component is just simply a function, right? A function. The function name, let's call it navbar. and then we're going to export defaults. So we're expecting our function, right? So a component is just simply a function that returns a what? A JSS. This right? A JSS. So it's a JSS. So I'll just call it a navbar component. These are navbar components. So this what a component is. A component is just a function that returns a JSS. So these are function, we're expressing the function, and then it is returning what? With JSS. And a JSS is just simply HTML-like structure, which with JavaScript embedded in it, which has the capacity to embed JavaScript in it. So now, assuming we have created our navbar component, we can go to our parent component, which is this, and then import that navbar. Going to import navbar. I'm importing it from navbar. This is so. This is just one of our component. I want to embed that component in our parent component. So all you do is just to use it just the way you use your HTML tag. So navbar, and then that's all. So if I go back to my page, navbar component. So you see, this is a component, right? So a component is just a function. So we have created our component, and this our component we just pass in out navbar component in our component, and then wait to the parent component, import that particular component, and then use it in our parent component. Now these are components. Navbar component has returns a JSS, which is a HTML-like structure. Now you can embed JavaScript in HTML here. And how do I do that? For example, I can embed a JavaScript expression through, and you have to use a curly braces, open and close curly braces. So in this our JSS component, this is our HTML-like structure, which is JSS on the JavaScript XML. We can embed a JavaScript expression by using the curly braces. For example, 3 + 2. It will give me 4, right? So if I go back here, a navbar component, so you can see we have succeeded in embedding a JavaScript in our markup, and this is our markup. So JSS help us embed JavaScript into our markup, right? We said it in our last lesson. So in other words, a component is just a function that returns a JSS. Okay, so but in this project we want to create this navbar component, right? So all I do is this our navbar component is just a div, the background color, and then secure your health by knowing your HTML. This is being is a text in it that is being centralized, right? So I want to remove this. So we just have, let's say, each one, and then we have this text which said secure your health, know your payment. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this. And let us do it here, right? Okay. So let's go what it gives us. Yeah, secure your health by knowing your what? Your PM. What is it? PMI. PMI, so it is PMI. Okay. So up till now, we have created our components. We have added it to our parent component. Now, so what is left? We need to look at how to style this component, right? Look at how to style this component. So, in our next lesson, let's look at styling our component, right? How do we style our component?